Welcome back to this episode of Bitch is a Bad Word. Hi, I'm Lindsay. If you're new here, I'm one mom with 4 kids and 0 fancy letters behind my name. I bring on all of the experts to help us unpack all of the bad words, toxic abuse that you may be experiencing as you navigate this road through and out of domestic abuse. And we do it together. We are building the biggest, baddest bestie gang. We are helping you build a bestie toolkit so I can teach you the things that I wish I had known. Today, we are joined by an absolute baddie. She is one of the OG members of the bestie gang. She is Anne Wintemute. She's the powerhouse behind Aimee Says, an AI platform changing the way we talk about domestic abuse and uplifting survivors with strength, resources, and unapologetic truth. Anne's work doesn't just raise awareness, it builds this movement. It's giving a voice to those who have been silenced. And remember, there is no safety in staying silent. She is helping create a future where women stand unbroken, unashamed, unstoppable, unkept. We are so excited to have her joining us today. Anne Wintemute, welcome to Bitch is a Bad Word.
Hello, I am so excited to be back today.
So excited about having you back because you are one of the OG guests and one of the original members of the Bestie Gang. You are a OG bitch fighting for freedom, a BFF. You're I think one of the founding members. I have to go back and look at the log. But you are a baddie, and this inspiration that I have from the first time I was ever introduced to you to we have, if you're listening for the first time, we have a some lore between us. You know, we have this long-standing relationship experience, and like everyone that comes on the show, we become this family of just the band of bitches that are just out there doing the damn thing. And I have used your platform, which is Aimee Says, so many times, and I might tear up telling you this, but here it comes. I have felt so empowered since I've met you. I have been able to truly reclaim this part in my stress level in my soul when I receive a message or receive an email and I put it in. I am so empowered. And that's because of Aimee Says and you. And you have literally put years back on my life from stress.
Oh.
So
Lindsay, you make me all warm and fuzzy inside, and that's why we do it. That's why Steven, my co-founder, and Anne, our new data scientist, technology badass, that's why we get out of bed every morning and do it. And we love the emails that we get and the sweet sentiments like you just shared. That is literally why we do it. We want people to feel like they're back in control of their own lives.
It is such empowering. That's the biggest word I love, because I love that word. Obviously, when you are empowered and when you can reclaim parts of your, voice, going back and having some autonomy back and being able to none of this matters, removing the fluff. There was so many times, and I met you a while ago, and on this journey, I was just having a conversation with somebody today where I'm I read it now. Sometimes I don't even have to put it through because I have a lens of understanding of not important, not important, not important, not important. Here's the meat. But that's because I've learned it from Aimee Says.
Yeah, you're playing the sport and your body's getting used to it and you've got some good muscle memory. And that's awesome. Yeah, we don't want to create dependency on AI, but AI is just an incredible in your pocket tool to help you develop those skills.
So talk to us about Aimee. Let's reintroduce Aimee to the new besties that are listening for the first time.
Yes. So Aimee is an AI-enabled system of support for anyone who's experiencing relationship harm, toxic relationship, narcissistic abuse, domestic violence, anywhere from red flag to rock bottom. And then we hope right back up again with Aimee's support. the vast majority of the folks who use Aimee just use our free chat. It's totally anonymous. We're not storing any data. When you navigate away, it's gone. We don't train our model on any user input, neither can any of our AI partners. So it's a great, safe, confidential, non-discoverable place to have a conversation. But we get really excited about the folks who have a lot of kind of challenging aspects to their recovery, especially in this kind of post-separation abuse, litigation abuse, family court space, where the odds are stacked against the people who are trying to protect themselves in a world that really seems to kind of privilege the adversarial party. So folks that are in that position, we have an upgrade option. It's very reasonable, $20 a month. That's very little time with an attorney for the entire month. That helps you
I think
log
that's just
what's
the
going
A in
on.
attorney.
Yes, that is just the A in attorney, and you only get to look at it for like 1 second, and it just flashes on your screen, and it's gone. It's got, the AI-supported incident logging and timelines and calendars and document storage and document analysis and review, and you can instantly create binders. Our whole goal is just through having those kind of casual, informal conversations with Aimee that people can stay ready so they never have to get ready, because life in that world really comes at you sideways sometimes.
Yeah, and out of complete left field. Like you're walking through your day and then all of a sudden you're slapped with some sort of motion. And, if you're in this space, if you're a MILF, you are doing it pro se all day, as we say. And you really need to have that organization piece down, because I learned the hard way, teaching the things I wish I had known. My shit was all over the place. It was actually in a cardboard box, and it was just paper after paper. And then I would every single time I needed to reference something, I have to go get the box, open the box, get all the papers out, papers all over the fucking place. And what I didn't realize, in addition to me being completely disorganized because I didn't even really want to tackle it, it was I had a mental block. Every time I opened that box, I was literally opening Pandora's box and becoming emotional, stressed, oh my God. And then I felt bad about myself for not being organized. So when you can really reclaim it and put it away somewhere where you never actually have to walk by and physically see it, and it's just living on a platform like yours, not only are you organized for court and you look like you have your shit together and you're more of a reliable pro se person, it also frees up mental bandwidth.
Yes.
That you just okay, it's there when I need it. We don't have to live in this cycle of fear all the time even though we're conditioned to do so. We can really just say, you know what? Today is the day I have to just open this. It's all organized. I'm ready to go. And then you put it away and you move on with your life. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Making it as easy as possible. That re-traumatization that you talked about, it's, if you open that box, you need one piece of paper, but you got to walk by, 400 other pieces of paper that remind you of the hell that you've been through, and back and forth and back, and then lingered in like a little cesspool for a little while and finally got out. It is incredibly re-traumatizing. But you're right. We just need to know that it's done, that it's stored, that it's documented, that the thing is done, and not have to walk by it again until you need it. And that's one of the awesome, capabilities of AI. And certainly that's, what we're trying to leverage to change outcomes for folks.
So let's say I get, some sort of motion that comes through, and as we know, I don't have any letters behind my name. So half the time I'm reading this shit, I'm like, I didn't take Latin. I don't know what any of this means. What in the actual? And there is something, there is a Latin term, maybe you know it, but that ignorance of the law does not forgive the ignorance in your brain or some kind of shit. The court is going to expect you to be of equal mind and ability as a lawyer if you're representing yourself in court. So if I get this thing and I go to Aimee Says, what is it going to do for me?
Well, let's see. So if you are a free anonymous user and you go to Aimee Says and you say, hey, I got this thing, and so you cut paste it in there, it's likely to be fairly generic, I assume, because that would be something would need a lot of complex information for an AI to be able to return a really helpful response. But, if you're starting down here at the bottom, I have no idea what this means. It's Latin and I speak English. That could still get you a long ways. If you have a case with ongoing litigation, we would definitely recommend having the product that remembers everything you said. Because in that case, you've documented the incidents, you have documents uploaded. Well, now this new motion is filed. You upload that, you say, Aimee, WTF, what is this even about? What am I doing in response to this? And Aimee will absolutely get the ball rolling with, okay, so here are the accusations that are going on in here. Here's the documentation that you have otherwise. So that would be an example that you gave where all of that kind of history and complex aspects would be really important and to the level of support that any AI would be able to provide.
Please go check out our Patreon. It is growing. There is a badass community handing over there. Patreon.com/bitch is a bad word. There's free tiers. There's paid for tiers. The paid for tiers give you ad-free listening, merch drops, merch discounts. We have a private Discord server where every single member is vetted. We personally look at their license so you can build your bestie gang, rebuild your network, rebuild your net worth over there on Patreon. Patreon.com/bitch is a bad word. Family court is really a challenging space at best. And you're going in, maybe if you have a lawyer, fantastic. But I also would suggest too that using an AI, using Aimee will help bring down the cost of your attorney because you're able to get yourself organized in a way where I made this mistake. We know this, besties. I used my first attorney as my fucking therapist. I'm like, another bullshit round of parenting happened this weekend. And I went in and I'd say all these things. And I was like, well, that email just cost me $350 and
yes.
Fuck. And then I'd keep doing it again and again and again.
Yes.
Because I didn't understand. You don't know what you don't know. So I realize now, had I had some sort of Aimee to just be like, I love you, Lindsay. You got this. We're good. Just I'm your friend also. But just being like, this is everything you need to communicate with your attorney.
Mm-hmm. The feeling you're talking about, I have to resolve this thing with my attorney. I'm on fire. This thing has set me on fire. Of course it did, right? Because they're abusing their communications with you. They're lying. They're distorting things. Of course it sets you on fire. And in a limited amount of circumstances, your attorney or the law specifically is what can douse that fire. In 95% of the circumstances, you can douse that fire for a whole lot less money. And kind of like you were saying, develop those skills to where you can, figure things out on your own and rely less and less on AI. But absolutely, easily many tens of thousands of dollars could be saved by really checking yourself. Is this a fire only my attorney can put out? And if not, let me see if I can put it out through something that, will still allow me to put steak and potatoes on the plate this weekend.
Oh my God. I love it because as we know, family court, you are rewarded for lying. And if you don't understand that, or if you've never been through it, thank God every single day that that's not your situation. But you go there and you're lie. Your pants are on fire. And this is also on fire. And, how do I respond to this lie? And so on a human level, you're going to get fired up by the lie. You're going to get emotional. And whether or not that's by design that they're doing that, or just by the fact that they don't give a fuck, you need something to douse you.
Yes,
not with kerosene, but with water.
No, something definitely flame retardant. I definitely not an accelerant. No, you're right. There's so many booby traps in family court. I was on the Indiana Jones ride recently at Disneyland, and as I was going through it, the arrows are shooting over my head, and this enormous boulder is about to roll down and smoosh my face. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like family court. Except I'm supposed to walk in here and not break a sweat and everything is locked and loaded and I'm totally able to handle it and I get off of this ride like nothing ever happened and there's a smile on my face. That's that is like a great metaphor. And it's not just that family court space, but everything that leads up to it. Every communication that you ever have in writing with your ex, you know, we think that communication is this exchange and honesty, and it's just not. It's communication is a euphemism for this sport. And I would love to talk more about that and communications and avoiding the booby traps of the family court system. And like I said, staying ready so you never have to get ready. So when you look back over your record, it is clean as a whistle.
Oh, okay. What is that? Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Well, when you were talking about how you were getting better at it and this muscle memory, I'm like, yeah, you're right. Communication is a sport. It's not this exchange and honesty. You are trying to like lob easy agreements at them, and you're like dodging all these accusations, and sometimes you have to wrestle to the mat because something is really, really important. And it's an athletic sport. You got to put on tennis shoes and a sports bra, and you might need a helmet and a mouth guard sometimes. But there are recipes to kind of mitigating the emotional harm of that sport and improving those outcomes. And exactly what you talked about in the beginning, like you get better at it with time when you're exercising that sport in the right way. We would love everybody to get to where they're like, I'm so fit, I can play this game. I always hit the ball. I never miss. It doesn't go out of the lines.
I love just Madonna, like with the bat, but it's like, it is so hard because you're human. And I've talked about this on the show before where, people are like, I just can't believe they did this. Well, thank God thank God you're there, because you wouldn't do this to somebody, right? Like if you can't understand why somebody would do this to you, then you can come sit at my table and we can be besties. But they're going to do this. And so what we need is tools that we can put in our bestie toolkit. We need to be able to play the game and the long game. And the knowing that they're 5 moves, they're playing a game with rules that they change when they want to, and they're playing a game sometimes that you don't even know that you're participating in.
Yes, it's 2 different games. Absolutely, 100%. 2 different games are going on. You're playing chess, they're playing checkers. You are trying to arrive at a child-centered goal, a decision, relaying some, important information. They are trying to frustrate that experience, keep you on the defense, right? Try to divert the conversation, make sure that you feel bad about it. It doesn't actually matter that much to them if at the end of the day the appointment got scheduled as was your original objective, because they might still feel like they won if they drug you in the mud because they don't have the same goal, right? You guys are playing totally different games, and there's absolutely a strategy to making sure that you are only ever playing your game, because as soon as you play theirs, they have ammunition. And you never feel good about it. No one ever feels good when they took the bait after the fact. And you were just saying there's no crying in baseball. There's absolutely crying in my baseball, because the very first thing that happens is you get that message, and whatever your kind of emotional response is, some people do cry, some people get enraged, some people call their friends and are like, WTF, can you check out what this scumbag just did? You're gonna be triggered, whether it's a motion that they filed or a stupid message that they wrote, and don't beat yourself up. Like, we'll go back to the athlete thing, or maybe you're more cerebral, you like the checkers and chess, but like if you beat yourself up for your natural responses, you're not gonna be your best self to do the really hard work of those next steps. So cry in baseball, be nice to yourself. I have absolutely opened up messages and thought, I don't know where you got that idea from, but I hope you kept the receipts, because the kinds of BS that get sent is insane.
Yes, and their ability to fire it off in such a way that, again, natural human response, you're a normal person responding to a very hectic, most likely abusive situation. So it's natural to have a response. You are not a robot. We have Aimee to remove. Let's put Aimee in play, because she doesn't have the same response as you do. And so you can be like firing it all the fuck off to Aimee, like, and then from what I remember you saying, Aimee will like literally be like, this is that, like helping you understand. So like, let's talk about that. What is that? Like that part?
Absolutely. So you just got the message, your stomach is churning, and you go over to Aimee, and there's a little analyze message button. If you don't see it at the top of the chat, just check in the plus sign, because we like to stick little treats in there for people to find, and click analyze message. All you do is you cut paste it in. She's going to ask you some questions, get some context, and you hit a button that says generate report. Click, and she will give you the line by line, the blow by blow of, oh, well, this he's using as a pretense for this. This is actually a form of manipulation. Here he's concealing, an actual objective by framing it in this way. Here's the impact it would have. That is the dousing. That is the dousing. Like, if you use Aimee for nothing except making sure you don't email a friend or an attorney in that moment, because friends, you're paying a social capital for all that time that you take up with friends. It's like, if you do nothing else with Aimee, that is a great use. She will douse that fire for you. And then you literally click draft a reply, and she'll give you some ideas for a response. It's an AI, so you can go back and forth and be like, no, I need it more like this, or if I said that, he would say this, so let's do it differently. But Aimee, that little process that we just went through will keep you from violating rule number one in this sport. That we need a name. Can you name this sport? What should we call it?
Oh, I'm good at that kind of stuff. Might be some.
Think on it. Maybe by the end of this podcast, we'll have a name for it. Because it's not an exchange in honesty, if your response is to go back and be honest and no, it wasn't like this, and you can't talk to me like that, you just lost. You cannot process your hurt. You cannot process their irreality in your response to them, right? That's the second thing. So Aimee first is going to tell you, here's what the hell just happened, and keep you from attempting to process that in your response to them. As soon as you did that, you just played checkers with them or whatever game they're playing, and they just won. It doesn't matter if you get the appointment scheduled at the end of it or you guys come to a decision. They just won.
Say it again for the besties in the back, because I've never heard it put so well. The honesty part where you're playing that is exactly what the fuck is happening. And this is why your mind is bending, because you're this is the truth. And you're almost saying it in this slow moving through molasses. How in the fuck are we here? This is what happened. You can't change it. And we've said this before, a narcissist will gaslight the shit out of you so that you're gaslighting yourself. And you're like, but look, it's here. And they're like, and
what?
So what? Are you crazy? You're just like your mom. Whatever.
You should probably talk to your doctor. Yep.
Yeah. Yes. I'm worried about you. And your friends are worried about you too. And also the mailman said he was worried about you when he dropped off your last package. Just saying. I mean, don't worry about it. We can talk about that later.
Yeah. It's
that piece is huge.
It is. Right now, we are communicating. This is what normal people do. I offer some bit of honesty and realness and vulnerability. We have a shared goal. We're trying to help people. This is communication. That's not what's happening. And this in a correspondence, if you will, with an X. We need a good name for it. I'm totally tasking you with coming up with that name. And in releasing that is the best thing that you could possibly do for yourself. It's strategy. It's a sport. They will use the communication, the correspondence, to do the same kinds of things they've always done. Their motivation will not change. And you still have to meet that with new strategies, right? Because we're not going to try to just have healthier communication. That starts with understanding, dousing that fire, processing your feelings. I highly recommend Aimee for that purpose. And then a couple other things, next step, don't take the bait, right? They are setting out the booby traps just as much as family court is.
And
there's
do you know that I call them
everywhere.
Masturbators? I don't know if you've heard lately. That's what they're in our world. Over here in bitch land.
Oh my gosh.
They're all masturbators. And you're like, okay.
The bait is everywhere because, again, they're not trying to come to a resolution. They're trying to frustrate the process of coming to a resolution, make sure you feel bad, avoid any accountability, certainly any, task management. Typically that's left to the other person. And avoiding that, not engaging in that is really important. There's only two circumstances where you do engage in all of that. If a serious accusation is made against you that relates to the kids that at face value is important to address, you give it a clear and profound, I disagree with that, that's a misrepresentation, and there's documentation to support my perspective on that. Sometimes it's like, you've never gotten our kid to school on time, or, you've had 15 absences, we've only been in school for 2 months, and that's why they should come to school with me. Something like that, a more simple, especially when it's really easily disproven, a simple, the attendance record would not reflect your assertion. That's it. All the other stuff, don't take it, because they're polluting it, they're convoluting, they're keeping the chaos that's, that chaos that they're always trying to stir up. That's what makes it stick, because nobody knows what direction is up. He says this, she says this. Try to keep that chaos to a minimum. We don't respond to the myriad asinine accusations that will be sprinkled throughout just because they want to frustrate the process.
They do. And we're here to crown your chaos, besties. We're going to freaking sit here and wear it like a crown, because once you can control that part, once you can start controlling your responses, once you can start to understand that it is all it's like foreplay. They're just fluffing it up. And you're like, ew, 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 ew. Okay, here's the meat. And the sooner you can get to the meat, because and sometimes there's no meat. Sometimes it's just like, it's not even worth the ram it was put, whatever, because you don't really send any paper, like whatever the thing in the internet is, it's not even worth that, whatever that thing is called. And you just have to look at it and go, yeah, I'm good. And because remember, no response is a response. And when we can get to the point of DNE, do not engage, we can start understanding this gray walking method. And if you can understand that at the end of the whole entire game, sport court, I don't know, we can throw that one around. Sport court.
Okay, I'm writing it down. We'll give it like a mouthfeel today.
Yeah, we'll just try it. Sport court.
I think it's the court sport, not sport court, but it's the court sport.
Court sport. Meet me at the court sport. I'm going to play a game of dodgeball. We're going to dodge the balls.
Yes. So sometimes it's dodgeball. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. I'm writing these things down because we're going to create a whole new visualization so people can like,
yes, this is it. This is the fucking game. And when you can get to this point, and when you can I want you to be sitting wherever you're listening right now and going, yes. Like, I've had so many days where I'm like, I didn't fucking engage. You're a baddie. And then people are like, who's this chick? I'm like, yeah, in the car, like driving, like, fuck, I'm fucking free for 5 seconds, right?
Yes.
And that feeling is something I have not ever had before doing this exercise, being like hosting this show. So like, again, no shame if you're sitting here going, oh my God, I just fucking respond. I have responded with the CVS size receipt reply of like, oh my God, it's the Dead Sea Scrolls. I have just fucking done it. I feel like shit after I've done it. I wish that I could go back and claw it off the internet. I wish I could take it all back. And at the end of it, I'm getting to this long-winded response. Once you realize that all you are is supply to them and understanding what that means, when you start removing the supply, they will get bored. They will move on. I don't know when. I wish I could tell you. You are absolutely like a member in this like club that you can't, it's like a timeshare. You can't figure out how to like get rid of it. Like you can't sell it. You have it for life. Your kids may inherit it. But like, if you understand that you are a source of supply. So what do we want to do? We want to remove as much as we can and be empowered. And using a tool like Aimee, she is your bestie, understanding like, let her take on the freaking load.
Yeah. Let the robot do the things that are just really emotional. You know your situation really well. You'll know that, yep, that is an adequate response, or yes, that was helpful. Yes, that feels resolved. And Aimee's just, great. She doesn't buckle under the weight. She's doing it for 2,000 people at the same time, and she's still there. She's still able to do it. And then last, it's just you got to redirect back to a decision. Often they'll do all of these things just to keep a decision from being made. And if a decision isn't necessary, you're just either providing or confirming the necessary information. And those keep things really clean and help avoid a lot of those family court booby traps and pitfalls, in addition to giving you back so much of your life. And I do want to say, like, all the details that you don't put in messages to them in response, because we know that they're not interested in your honesty, you still document those. And with Aimee, you stick those things in the journal, in the events, you have all of that information. You take that screenshot, you add it to that event. It's always retrievable. It's there. You've done everything you need to do, and you've moved on with your life.
I think it's really important what you just said, because they're not interested in the truth. They're not interested in the honesty, but the honesty still matters. Like
Yes.
and I think what's important from just my learned experience is they do a really good job of confusing you. And they do a really good job, especially as we're learning now, that while you're in traumatic experiences, while you're in abuse, your brain is not firing properly. And you are living in a trauma response. You are living in trauma, and you're in this fog. And the fog is real, y'all. Like, when you're like, I can't, is it, okay, that's like, if that's where you are right now on your healing journey, that's completely normal and expected. So when you're like, do you think maybe I could, am I part of the problem? When you're when you're not sure, ding, 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 they have succeeded. That is their goal. They want to keep you confused. They want to keep you in the cycle. They want to keep you in the shit. And they're really, really articulate and very, very, very good at spinning everything so that it looks like it's all possible, like maybe. So if you can have a place where you can put the truth, and this is why we say, like journaling. If you can journal everything that happened while you're being gaslit, and journal it, throw it away and burn it, because they'll use it against you later, or they'll find it or whatever. I mean, but you just need like a place, like in your burn book, in your burn Bible, like that you have a place to put it so that you can go back and go, this is exactly what happened at the time that it happened. And I think that that's what Aimee seems to be able to give, right? Like
I 100%. And a vault, yes, an AI retrievable vault, so you don't have to comb through it. Hey, Aimee, when did the such and such thing happen, and what's my documentation for it? Way easier. The documentation thing is really, really important. And one, like you were talking about, processing your feelings, those things are more likely to be weaponized against you. There is something called work product, where stuff that you produce in anticipation of litigation, get some legal privilege. No, I don't have to hand over my documentation that was specific to preparing for this litigation. Aimee is a really great space for that. The issue with, so our kind of cognitive explosion that happens when we're triggered is, I will never forget this. This is the worst thing ever. I will never forget the thing that just happened today and how I felt at the doctor's office when I found out XYZ. And so it keeps us from realizing that our 1 year from now self would really have wished that we had captured those details and that screenshot that we took and the doctor's notes where they said something, totally crazy. Our future self is the person that needs that documentation. And it's hard to see the value in the moment, especially when you've been like slogging up poop river and you're like, what's even matter? It's an existential crisis. Like, what is the truth? If he can just lie and create chaos and people believe him, all of those things keep us from doing the real documentation that's important. But I promise, if you're doing it along the way, you will feel better. You'll feel like that thing is stored. I can sleep at night. And your future self that's like, why did I think I was going to remember the details to that? Will be really, really thankful.
Well, because again, this is the long game that they're playing. So that one thing you need that you think you'll remember today, 175,000 other things will be like added to the stack as the time goes on. And if we have 18 years of like co-parenting, that's a lot of fucking things that are most likely, unfortunately, going to happen. So being able to be a boss in this like organization space, really saying, and I'm going to go back for just a second when you brought up speaking to your friends, that like you have that social currency is only so much, because there's a couple things that I think are important. Well, people don't want to hear it. All right. Like they love you, but they're done. They love you, but it's like, it's so fucking wacko. Like some people I've shared story like with my best friends of like, and like, this is what I'm going through. And they're like jaw to the table. And they're like, the worst thing that happened to me today was like, they didn't have organic lettuce at the farmer's market. They were out like that might literally be the worst part of their day. And, or like they went to get their nails done and the fucking color just isn't what I hoped it would be. So like there are people, and God bless them, we love them, and you know, that don't have, thank God, experiences like this that you're, if you're listening to the show right now, you are going through most likely, or you're curious for somebody else. You have to understand that everybody and they have their own like limited bandwidth, and people might be going through their own shit, or maybe you're triggering something in them. They're like, I don't want to hear this. And it doesn't make them bad friends. It doesn't mean, but like, imagine if you could just go to Aimee, drop your shit off with her, and like then go into your like party or tea time or brunch or whatever the fuck and not have to talk about it. You're going to feel better. Cause there's so many times where I'm like, I know I walk in the room and feel like, there she is. Oh God, here she comes. What's she going to say now? It's all crazy as fuck. Yeah. Now you're like, okay, Aimee, we're going to have our pre-party. Like, you know, that's where we're going to, and then I'm going to go.
Yes. No, that's totally true. Good, well-meaning friends, even ones who have their own similar experiences so they can understand it. Like it's, there is a cost to unburdening ourselves of difficult or painful experiences and receiving resonance from someone else. Like that's an emotional draw, like withdrawal going in one direction. And friends do that back and forth and back and forth. But if you are in an intractable situation, if you are relying on your friends for that, you will be overdrafting. There is not enough money that you can put in that emotional account to not end up overdrafting if you are relying on them. And it really perpetuates your feeling of isolation when your friend's like, yeah, so anyways, and change that subject on you, because that's what they need, right? They need to be getting something out of the friendship too. Yes. So that's I think even harder is like knowing, oh, my friends don't want to hear about this. You can really have your friends back and be connected with them in ways that are meaningful to both of you when you kind of offload some of that reliance to Aimee in this example.
Yes. And again, like because this is the thing, it's like, it doesn't make sense to anybody outside of this like cult, like this court cult that we're fucking in. And so it's just like you're trying to explain to somebody like, yeah, I mean, he brands me with his initials, like that's normal. That's how we do things here. It's like, that's okay. I gave him all my money and that's okay. I mean, he's going to put me on the path in the right direction. And the people on their side are like, what? Did you hear what she just said? This is crazy. And so there's so many friends who are just like, they don't get it and that's okay. But you're trying to explain this cult to them and they're like, I can't, we're all like, I'm all full here. I cannot do this anymore.
Yep.
Or you've got the friends who are like, they're going to maybe give you misinformation. They're going to maybe like, and then like, let's just be truly, truly, really real. You may have the friends that are in the shared community pot that it's like, they don't need to know that, because you do need to protect, you know, you do need to kind of like keep things and sort of like compartmentalize them so that it's not going out. And then if anything gets back to those flying monkeys, you know, they're reporting back to the man in charge behind the curtain, you know, or woman, but you know, we've talked about this. This is a show just for the bitches. Yeah. And we only, you know, talk about that other thing. Yeah. But
the emotional hangover.
The emotional hangover.
So like when we disclose to people and then I spent 20 minutes talking about that last night. The disclosure hangover is so much worse when you remember that person is friends with your ex or friends with someone who's friends with your ex, because there's a decent chance that some piece of that information gets back to them.
Yep. Yes. So we've got Aimee, and okay, I had a dumb moment like after we had our first show with you, and then I was like, Aimee, I wonder why. I can't remember if I asked you this, and then I was like, oh, AI, like fuck yes, this is so cool. I love the name. I'm like, now I get it. So I was like, Aimee, like why did she pick Aimee? Like I wonder. Okay, she picked Aimee, y'all, because AI is spelled, that's the first two letters of it, which is artificial intelligence. Isn't that? She did it.
Yes.
She
Yes.
figured
And
it
all
out.
the like consonants, I mean, there's only one in there, are like really soft. It's not jarring when you say the name. But also, Aimee, spelled that way, is the feminine form of beloved in French. And, you know, domestic violence, relationship abuse, like those are violations of our love, of our self love, of the love that we give to other people. And yeah, and we like to think that Aimee helps kind of restore and repair that that safety around love for the people who use her.
I love that so much. And she's not going to be asking for anything in return and, you know, which is like really kind of amazing. Like, I, I know that sounds strange, but it's like so many times you can just go to this resource. And like, as we said, we're building your bestie toolkit. This is a resource that we highly recommend you lean on so that all this other space can be free in your life. Because outside of being safe, obviously safety being our first, and you know, that's the most important thing, healing will be second, is that you will move on with your life. Life is waiting for you. There's a beautiful life that's waiting for you. You have no idea what's on the other side of this really dark cloud right now. And if you can just imagine, like, where can I just free up this stuff and really have it here and really get into the habit of everything just go. This is where I'm putting it in its place, and it's going to live here so that I have this freedom to go live my real life. And I think there's like an unknown beauty waiting. And I'm sure you know stories of women who send you messages and things of like, share that part. Like, what's on the other side of this rainbow?
No, you're right. This is the hardest thing that most people will go through. Hands down. You hear that over and over in this line of work, like, oh my gosh, the hardest thing I ever did was end and then try to recover after an abusive relationship. But that is so important to remind people, because we talk about that all the time, how hard it is. And I worry that it scares people from doing it. Nobody is here on the other side saying, wow, I really regret that. I absolutely should have stayed. That's, yeah, we're over here on the other side after the storm. There is a rainbow. Lots of folks are, you know, they're coming back to that burning building they escaped with their own pail of water. They're trying to help you get out. They're trying to help you get out as safely as possible, because it is worth it. There is sunlight on your skin and warmth in your soul, and, you know, improved and healthy relationships with kids. And it's a hard road, but the view at the top is fucking amazing.
Oh my God, I have chills. Like, literally, like, that is the most beautiful vision. And, you know, you said something that's really important too when it comes down to relationships with your kids, because your kids also have one childhood. And so when you have done the hard thing that you're going to have to do, and like Anne said, it's not easy. It is fucking hard, but it's worth it. And you can do it. You're already in the shit. You have done the hard things, and now this is like you're listening here because you're curious. You're listening because you know you're a baddie. You know you can do it, and we're just going to help you, just guide you, and like come on the journey with you. But your children have one childhood, one life, 18 Christmases, 18 summers. I'm not like I had to get like to come to Jesus to that for myself. Was like, wait a minute. Every single time I get derailed by this email, and if you start looking at the two things that when you get to a point of really understanding what they're doing, you start seeing the patterns. When you can see their patterns, you can start knowing they're predictable. So just like when you were in your relationship and they want to blow up Christmas and they want to blow up your birthday and they want you to have the worst time on your vacation, they are predictably going to do that in your post separation. So when you start understanding their patterns are to fuck up your day, and they're going to do it most likely when you have your kids with you, and probably on a Friday. And, you know, probably like they're very just strategic. If you can just say, okay, guess what? Because I've been there. I've gotten the email and then I'm just like, I have no patience. No, I don't want to do that thing. I don't want to take him to the park anymore. I don't like, I've got to get this done. I've got to get this done. As soon as you can realize that you have been groomed, I'm going to use that word. You have been groomed to respond immediately to this person for however many years you've been with them. That is where we're going to have to help you like realize just because they sent it now does not mean you need to respond to it at all. Right? And you can enjoy this one precious time, like the time you have with your kids. And I think that you're going to be able to do that when you have a resource like Aimee, because you know it's there. I don't even have to open it. I'm going to take my kids for that frozen yogurt, not where I went the other day. And we are going to enjoy this time together because this person's entire goal is to blow up this moment.
Yep. Yeah, I love it. Absolutely.
That's what they want to do. So you get to have this, like, you really will get to have your life back in these compartments again, because life is moving. Your kids, they don't know. I mean, whatever they're being told, it's not your business what they know in some ways too. So it's like when they come back, you put the email in, you ask Aimee to like help you decipher it. And then you do have this moment of clarity of like, well, you know what? Actually, it wasn't that bad. Because most of the words were filler fluff bullshit words.
Yeah, or now it's named and I can look it in the eye and it's not confusing, and things that, like something creeping around in your bedroom at night when you can't actually see it and you don't know what it is way more terrifying, right, than the cat going through your bedroom in the daylight when you can see where they are and what they're doing. So like Aimee's just turning on the lights and that helps a tremendous amount. But what you just said a minute ago, I think is really important when you were talking about like, I'm going to be in control of the situation with Aimee. So one of the biggest predictor, if I had to pick one predictor for how traumatic somebody's like co-parenting or, kind of post-separation experience it will be, it's how long they hold on to the idea that someone will come and rescue them. When you get the message or he does the thing or your kid tells you the thing and your first thought is, this is not an accusation, this is a totally normal response. And your first thought is, oh my gosh, what do I need? I need to do something about this. This person needs to know about this. This person needs to intervene. I need to call my lawyer. What are my options? We're waiting for a system, for a person to validate, acknowledge, rescue us. Unfortunately, our system isn't only incapable of that, it often works in a kind of adversarial role to that. When the opposite of that is, I have faith in myself, I have trust in myself that I will be able to respond appropriately. I believe that my love for my children is enough, even if I can't get the decision that I need for them or the outcome I need for them, or he won't agree to a thing. That is where the recovery lives. That is where the authentic time connecting with our children lives, because it keeps all the other stuff out of that relationship. You can be that umbrella if you believe in yourself, that I have the ability, I have the skills, the strength, the chutzpah, the labias to do it.
Hell yeah.
That is where your peace is going to live, because the truth is no one is going to come to rescue you. No one is going to come to rescue.
Saving our damn selves. We are the heroes in our own stories now. Mm-hmm. Fuck Prince Charming, y'all. Like, he's the one who got us in this mess in the first place.
It will be burned as witches for doing it, but whatever. Another podcast.
You have most likely lost all of your autonomy. That is it. It's like that simple. And by design, they have deconstructed you. They've pulled you apart. They've pulled you down. Their entire goal has been to confuse you about who you truly are, take away all the great, amazing things that they once idolized and thought you were so great for having. They don't want you to like be a baddie. They don't. So, and you've been living in their shadow and under their control and under their thumb for a very long time. So reclaiming that power, I know this seems like radical. Here she goes. Radical, Lindsay. No, it's just radical acceptance. And just saying like, I'm reclaiming this because I know I'm a baddie. I know I'm the best mom. I know I'm all these amazing things. And and it's going to take a little bit of time to rebuild it. And you're going to doubt yourself. But once you start sort of having that, just like that little, once you get that power play and you're like, ooh, wait, this is a win. It's a win for me. It doesn't have to look like a win for them. That's the thing, 'cause it's like very important. Because again, they're not playing the same game we're playing. You just need to have those little W's for yourself, and no one needs to know about it. And you are really gonna like come out like, fuck yeah. You're like, yeah, let me just readjust my crown here, and I am going to fucking slay the day. And you can. You can. You just need help, and you need to help yourself. That is the message. And you didn't know you could do this. You most likely weren't. If you were a kept woman, you weren't even paying your own damn bills. You didn't even know how to do this. I've made so many excuses. I know it's part of my like intro that I have no fancy letters behind my name. I'm learning these letters. I'm earning these letters rather. To really understand that at some point I had always told myself, I can't do this. I don't understand this. This is too complicated. This doesn't make any sense. Like these are big words. And I still have that, like that feeling sometimes of like that doubt. But if you can put this Aimee in your arsenal, like into your bestie toolkit, where it just sort of like nobody's judging, right? You can be like, I don't know what the fuck this means. And no one's going to be like, really? Oh, that's weird. Well, it means da 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 or whatever. Like it's just like it's a judgment-free zone. You can start rebuilding your bank, your own, just like, I've got this. And that power and that is where you start showing up and you become the force and you become like back to your old self. And they're not interested in that. If they can't control you, they don't want anything to do with you.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah. That's, yeah. It can take a long time if you're trying to change your behavior, hoping that theirs will change. That's absolutely a long game. Don't lose hope. You can imagine it like, if my kid throws a temper tantrum for ice cream, I can't say yes, not ever, not once, because we'll just be delaying the day where they stop throwing tantrums for ice cream. Even if it's not changing their behavior, it's still worth it because it's changing your experience of their behavior. You only have control over yourself, and it's still totally worth it. Even if 5 years from now, you're like, wow, he really just can't get off that bone.
And then you're like, yeah, I see why. Because I'm a fucking badass.
That's right.
That's why they're interested in you because you're a baddie. That's like, that's the real, that's it. They want something that you have that they were never born with. And it sucks that you're in this, but like, yay, pat yourself on the back. You were a prize that they wanted. Yeah. They needed that light from you because
you were the favorite flavor of ice cream.
Yes, 31 flavors, bitches. And we are like here to say, you're a tasty. Oh, you're a tasty treat. But it's like they wanted this. And so when you can step back and say, okay, here we go. This is it. And they're going to try all different ways. Because it's like once you've blocked that one entry, again, I always want to be honest and with the game struggles, they're going to look for other ways to enter. And it's just understanding that every single time you can be like, nope, here we are. What is the meat? What do we need? What's the goal? What are we trying to accomplish here? And there have been many things where I have like written it and then I've been like, no, dude, what are you doing? No, I don't even need, and they've moved on. By the time, if you don't respond to certain things, they don't even remember what they did because they're just firing shit off too. They have like that. They don't care. And then you're like, do you remember that thing that you said? And they're like, what?
Yeah.
I don't remember. And you're like, again, they'll gaslight you, but they are doing it out of their own responses as well. They have like their regulation problems. They're dysregulated. And we have been like so used to just reacting instead of acting. And if you can start acting in accordance with your badass self, this is the new version of you. This is how we respond. You're going to have your power back, bitches.
That's right. That's right. You show up to the actual thing that you're doing with the right tool set, and stop reacting. Okay, remember though, you need a mitt, you need a tennis racket, sometimes you need a helmet, like a custom mouth guard, but you're showing up with the right things. That's going to get you from where you are today to where you need to be.
Okay, so what is, if you could tell our listeners, like, what are 3 things that you would say are the most important ways to like to address a situation? What are like the power moves?
Gosh. Okay, let's because that could be taken in a whole lot of different avenues. I'm gonna stay like centered on the individual, the badass bestie bitches. 1, resist the urge to believe that someone else should rescue you. It's a muscle you have to train, but it is disempowering to think, if your first thought is, or the actions you take are, this person needs to know about it because they need to do something about it. We are disempowering ourselves, and it keeps us from putting the energy into the things that do empower us. 2, stop seeing communication as this exchange in honesty. It is not. You will lose every back and forth if you continue to show up that way. And 3 is be nice to yourself. Those things are mean. They were meant to hurt. Like it's intentional. The words are chosen intentionally. The fear is delivered intentionally. Be nice to yourself as your body has like a normal fight or flight, stay alive, or, complex post-traumatic stress disorder response. Be nice to yourself in that moment and trust that after that, you will know the right thing to do, the right next step to take.
Oh, I hug yourselves right now. Everybody being like, just give yourself a snuggle. Because I love that. Those are the 3 greatest things I've heard in a very long time, if ever, actually. I've never heard all 3 of those together in one sentence. So yes, this is
the trifecta.
The trifecta of like, this is it. Like, we're done with the fuckery. And now we're going into that badassery. These are the 3 things that you can do. And then, understanding this, no one's coming to, like, I just love that. Like and I'm going to say, like, it pulled up a memory response of like so many times I have ADHD or AD, I'm not sure which one. So I over explain. And then I realized I over explained because I was never believed for a long time. Or, I had that toxic relationship. So I'm always feeling like the need to just keep going and explaining. And then some normal people are like, okay, I got it the first minute. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm working on that. But I also want to go back to like all of my friends and be like, guys, guess what? You're not going to hear from me anymore about this bullshit because I'm better. And because there's so many times where I'm like, damn, it is the first thing you get that email. And then you're like, who can I send it to first? Oh my God, who am I going to tell? Oh my God, who is it this, And it's like, we can stop and take a breath and like be okay with like not doing that anymore. And I imagine you are watering these other relationships with like really good things now too. And so like all of those friendships are going to feel better. Your relationships with your kids are going to feel better. The most important relationship is with yourself. So you're going to feel better. I loved how earlier you were saying like that hangover of like, oh my God, I can't believe I fucking did that last night. Like, no walk of shame here. No, you're done.
No, that hangover, that's a tough one. And entirely preventable and self-inflicted. And talk to Aimee. No hangover. No disclosure hangover from Aimee.
No, yes. Oh my God. It was like Friday night party with Aimee. I love to ask this because as we know, we're building this bestie toolkit, really putting an empowering kit together so that you can just have this resource and go right to it. Like, this is what I need. So what is a tool that you could put in our bestie toolkit?
Well, I think that anyone who's listening to your show should get 2 months of Aimee for free. I think we should get you guys a code for that. That should 100% be in your toolkit. If it works for you, you listeners, it's totally worth, keeping that subscription. And if it doesn't, you tried it. And that's part of being a badass. But yeah, the toolkits, I think I gave some pretty good ones. The last one in your toolkit, what you were just saying about like, but I'm being misunderstood. I over-explained myself. You developed that maybe not because of ADHD, but because you were in a relationship with someone who was committed to keeping misunderstandings alive because it prevented agreement, it prevented consensus. So that wound of like, I'm being misunderstood, I'm being misrepresented, that was intentionally inflicted. You got to sew that little one up and just like, I know my truth. I don't need someone else to believe it. That again is so empowering. When we are trying to convince someone else of the truth, we are giving them the power to decide whether or not it is in fact true. And if you're working with someone who wants it, they're committed to the misunderstanding, to resisting agreement. It is just, I mean, you might as well throw yourself off of a cliff because it's never going to end.
Thank you for saying that so loud. They are committed to the misunderstanding. So once you know that they are not committed in any other way to make you feel good, and they never were, I want wake up and smell the roses because they never wanted you to feel good. They didn't. If they did, they wouldn't have treated you this way. If they did, they would have been capable of it's like, again, they're not just bad words. They're abusing you. And they are leaving you confused. If you are ever being doubting yourself, doubting reality, doubting just that, right there, if someone makes you feel like you've walked away from a conversation where either it's escalated to a place where you're like, how the hell did we get here? Or you've left with I have a genuine grievance with you right now, Anne. I didn't like the way you said that to me. And if Anne goes firing up and blows it all up and turns it around and flips it back and she's like, remember 8 years ago when you did that to me? When they start doing that and then you walk away feeling worse, that's abuse. Like that. Yep. I mean, and I hate, that's a toxic relationship. If abuse is too hard of a word for you right now, you are in a toxic relationship. If you cannot have a grown ass adult conversation about feelings and walk away feeling validated and respected. That's it. You're in a wrong place. So I love that you're saying for me to come heal that wound, because for so long, the invalidation, the disrespect, all the shit where you're like, I guess this is a me problem.
Yeah.
I guess it is me.
Not anymore. It's a them problem now.
It is a them problem. Oh, okay. So we've got the coolest. So we will drop this. I know you're sitting there listening wait, are we going to hold her to it? Yes. 2 months of Aimee Says. We're going to have some kind of bestie code. I'm sure
Let's
you'll
do
give it
bestie
to us.
25.
Okay. Hell yeah. Let's go. Bestie 25. We're going to put it in the show notes. 2 months of this amazing resource. You will get return dividends. I promise you. It is the greatest thing ever. And being able to just have you back on the show though, Anne, because I absolutely love you. As the OG member of the Bestie Gang and the BFFs, you have this gift. And I love that the way that you can communicate, the way that you break it down in this, the lowest common denominator for me sometimes, but it doesn't feel that way. I'm like, yes, you are Aimee. That, I think is really beautiful is that this compassionate, but passionate, and just that big sis vibe energy where you're I got your back. You are Aimee, and we are so incredibly grateful for you being in this with us.
Thank you so much. I'm here alongside all of you, and I just want to show my little people hands now because that was some real love, and I'm gonna share my love now. I originally thought these hands were for something else because of their shape, but then I was told that you're supposed to have 2 of them so that you can make a heart.
Wait, what did you think? It was a little a hot dog helper, a little wiener eater,
kind of like a
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. See, I'm not a weirdo. Other people think exactly the way I think.
Absolutely. I went to the register. I was laughing about it, and she's like, "You need 2 of them," and I was like, "Why would you need 2?" And then
Like, that's
she
weird.
showed me. Yeah, it was to make.
Did
it
she
hard.
look at you like you're like, Alex Cooper only needs one?
I tend to like kind of black out emotionally in those moments where I realize that I've done something I wasn't supposed to do. So I have no idea how she responded. I swiped my card and I left.
You're like, okay. And she's like, they're not returnable.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And I love you so much. I could talk to you forever. We're definitely going to have you back. I think that this is such an important conversation, especially during this month of October. Domestic Violence Awareness Month is upon us. As we know, just because it's October doesn't mean it's not happening 365, 7 days a week, 24/7. But this is a good time to just put it out there, get loud, really sharing that understanding that you're not alone. And you have everything within you, but you also have this amazing, amazing tribe of women who are with you along the way. So let's fucking go.
I love it.
So we'll have you back. And again, thank you so much for joining us on this October edition of the Witches. Witch is a bad word.
I love it. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Bitch is a Bad Word. Remember, there is no safety in staying silent. If you or your family is in immediate danger, please use 911, crash on a friend's couch, do whatever you have to do to get you and your children safe. Remember, if you or someone you love is experiencing domestic abuse, please know you're not alone. Call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. That's 1-800-799-SAFE. You can also reach out to them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at thehotline.org. Besties are standing by. It's anonymous, completely as long as you need them, they're there. They've got your back. Join us over on Patreon. We are building that big bad bestie gang over on Patreon, patreon.com/bitchisabadword. There's free tiers, paid tiers. There's an entire group of baddies that are rebuilding their network, their net worth. And there's like lots of great conversation even just happening. You can join for free. If you join a paid tier, there's all sorts of perks. And we'd love to see you over on Patreon. Please send me your texties from your exties. Slide them into my DMs at Bitches a Bad Word Pod. You can also find us on TikTok and YouTube at Bitches a Bad Word. You can reach out to us on our phone number, 331-BITCHES, or you can send us good old-fashioned email, biabw@caliber-studio.com. We've got your back. We're here for you. We love you. I am so incredibly grateful for this community, to every member of the MILF Mafia, to all of the BFFs, to all of the Bestie Gang. I absolutely love you. Thank you so much for spending time with me, sharing your stories, giving me the information and inspiration that I need to help really just empower us all be the baddies that we are. You can find our merch. MILF Mafia merch is for sale, and for the month of October, 50% of all hats sold, all MILF hats sold, will go to Tina Swithin's One Mom's Battle Legal Fund. And thank you so much for helping that absolute baddie. We love you. And we got your back. We'll see you next Tuesday, besties. Bitches being bad.